Hello everyone, welcome back to Maximum Automation. As part of this Selenium with Python tutorial series, today in this video, I'm going to discuss the data types available in Python. Data types basically defines that which kind of data we are going to store in a variable. We can create different kinds of variables based on different data types, and then we can store their values into those variables. Like we have data types available in almost every languages like Java, C Sharp. Similarly, Python also provides data types which we can use to store our data. So let's start with the different data types which Python provides. The first data type I'm going to discuss is numeric data type, which we can use to store numerical data like integer, float. So the data type which can store numbers, then the data type is called as numeric data types. In numeric data types, first we have integers. Let's say I need to store the age of a person. So the age is numeric data which I want to store. And to store it, I can type the variable name age. And then I can store the value. Let's say the age of a person is 32. So the numeric value 32 can be stored in the age variable. Let me add the print statement which will print the age value in the console. In Python, data types objects are created when we assign a value to the variable. Unlike the other languages like Java or C Sharp, where we have to provide the data type first as int, then variable age. And then we can provide value as 32. Or if we need to store decimal value, then we need to provide data type as float. But in Python, we don't need to define the type of the variable like int or float. We can directly assign the value to the variable. And because we have assigned the integer value to the age variable, so the data type of this variable is now considered as an integer. Now let's say if I want to store the amount of a book and the amount is in decimal format. Let's say I'm going to store the amount value in a variable called price. And the price of the book is 99.99. So now this price variable will be treated as float because I have assigned the value to this variable in decimal. And in case if I change this value to, let's say, 99 only, then the data type of this variable will be integer only. So in Python, the data types are being created at the moment we assign the values to them. We don't need to define the type of the variable or data type of the variable. We just need to assign value into the variable, which automatically creates the data type of the variable. Now let me add the print statement for the price variable as well. Then in numeric data type, the another type of data we can store is complex numbers. So far, we have discussed integers, then we discussed floats, and after that, we have complex numbers. Now the question is, what are complex numbers? I'm sure you all might have used the complex number in mathematics. These are the numbers which are created in the form of real and imaginary numbers. Let me create a variable here called comp, and I'm going to store the complex number into this variable. So the value assigned into this comp variable is a complex number, where 5 and 2 is a real number and j is an imaginary number. And the value of j is equal to square root of -1. Instead of j, we can use variable like I or K also. So Python supports the complex number data type. Now let me print statement for this as well. Also, let me add the one more print statement for printing the data types or class of the variable in console. And for that, I can use the type method. So this will print the type of age, then this one will print the type of price, and at last, this will print the type of the comp variable. Now, if I run my program, then you can see in the console that first it printed the age variable value, which is 32, and then the class of the age variable. Because we have assigned the integer value, so here the class of the age variable is integer. Then the second variable was price, so it printed the price value. And then the class of the price variable is float. Then the third one is the value of the complex variable. And here it printed the class of the variable, which is complex. So this way you can create numeric data types in Python. Now, after that, let's move to another data type, that is string. Let me first comment this code. Then let's discuss the string data type. And for this also, we don't need to define the data type. We can directly create a variable, let's say strvar, that is a string variable. And then we can assign the string value into this variable. We can create a string by adding a collection of characters inside a single or double quotes. Let's say the string is maximum automation. Here I have created a string using single quotes. I can also create a string using the double quotes. So here both strings are same. Either you can give the single quote or you can provide the double quotes as well. So this is how you can define the string in Python. Now let's say if I want to print this string into the console, then I can add a print statement to print the value of the string variable. Because the string is a collection of characters, so in Python, we can use the indexing directly in the string variable to get the subset of the string. Let's say if I want to print the first character of the string, then I can write string var followed by the index 0. In Python also, indexing starts with 0. When we use indexing as 0, then it will print the first character of the string. And let's say if I print the character at the third index, then it is going to print I, which is the fourth character of the string placed at third index. Also, we can print the characters from a string based on a specific range. Let's say I want to print the characters starting from 0th index to 6th index, which should print substring as maximum from the string. And we can also concatenate these string values. So let me add another print statement here, where I'm going to concatenate two string variables. The first is string var, and the second variable is, okay, I have given the same variable name over here. So let me give it as string var1. and then I can concatenate strings using the plus operator. So now this will print maximum automation into the console. Now let me run it. Here you can see first it printed maximum automation because we printed the string var. After that, it printed the character m, which is at the 0th index. And then it printed the character I, which is at the 3rd index. Then here you can see it printed the characters from 0 to 6 index. But one thing to notice over here is that when we provided the range from 0 to 6, then it did not print the 7th character or the character placed at 6th index. So it printed the characters from 0 to 5th index. When we provide the index range, then it does not include the last index. It will always print up to the -1 index. Now let's say if I give 7 here this time, and if I run it again, then you can see now it printed the character placed at 6th index, but it did not print the 8th character or the character placed at 7th index, which is a space. So this is how you can use the index range. And then here you can see that it concatenated both the string variable 1 and 2. You can see variable 1, then it concatenates the string variable 2. If I add one space over here, then we can see it printed maximum automation 2 times because we have concatenated the string. So this is how string variable works in Python. After that, the other data type which we are going to discuss is sequence types. Sequence types are used to define the sequence of data, like we have list, arrays in other languages. Let me comment this code. And then let's move to the sequence data types. In sequence data types, the first type we have is list. So list in Python is collection of data, like we have array in other languages. But here in Python, we can add the data of different data types in a list. To show you an example, first, let me create a list variable as my list. To assign the list of values, we need to start with the square brackets. And then we can provide the value inside this list. Let's say apple, comma, red, comma, 23, comma, 99.99, comma, and then India. You can see that I have given the different types of data in the list. So unlike other programming languages, where if we define a string list, then we have to give all the items as a string in the list. Or if we define the list type as integer, then we have to provide all the types as integer. But in Python, we can provide the data of different data types in the list. You can see first I have given the value as apple, which is a string. Then I have given red, which is again a string. And after that, 23, which is an integer. And then I have given a float. So this is how we can provide different types of data in a list. Now let's print the list into the console. This will print all the data of the list. And let's say if I need to print the first value of the list, then what we can do is we can print the list item placed at 0 index. this is going to print apples from the list. And after that, again, as we did in a string, we can also print the range over here. Let's say starting from 0 to 4th index, I want to print all the items. As I have added the 4th index here, so it will get the first 4 items printed. After that, what we can do is we can also print the items starting from the index 1. And if I don't give the end index, then it will automatically take the last index of the list. So the end index is optional, and by default, this will be the last index of the list. So starting from the second item, this will print all the items of the list. Now, if I run it again, you can see here, it printed all the items of the list. And after that, it printed the first item of the list, that is apple. Then it printed the range over here from 0 to 3rd index. So it printed the item on index 0, 1, 2, and 3. And this item is not printed because I have given the range up to 4th index. And this will always display items up to -1 index. And then here it printed all the items starting from index 1 up to the last index of the list, because we have not given any value for the last index. So starting from 1, it printed all the items of the list. So this is how a list data type works in Python. Then the other data type which we are going to discuss is tuple. So let me comment this first. Tuple is also a sequence data type. Tuple in Python is another data type which is similar to a list. In tuple, we can provide the multiple items of different data types separated by commas. But unlike list, we have to use round brackets to create a tuple. Now let me create a variable for tuple as my tuple. And then I can assign the values to the my tuple and close in a round bracket. And here also items will be comma separated. So now I have created a tuple which contains multiple elements. Now you might be thinking, what is the difference between tuple and a list? The difference between tuple and list is that list starts with the square bracket and tuple starts with round bracket. Then the next difference is that we can change the size of the list, but we cannot change the size of a tuple. Tuple is a read-only data type. Now to understand it practically, let me first print the tuple values. So I'm going to copy this from here, and then we'll replace the mylist variable with my tuple. Now if I run this again, then we can see that first it printed all the items of a tuple. Then it printed the first item of the tuple. Again, it printed the items starting from 0 index to 3rd index. And here, starting from the first index, it printed all the items of the tuple. So this works similar to a list. Now, if I show you the difference between list and tuple, then what I'm going to do is, let me update the item of a list. Let's say I want to update the first item of the list. And for that, I can assign a new value to the item placed at 0th index. Let's say the new item value is mango. And then I'll print the first item value into the console. Let me comment these print statements. Now, if I run it, you can see it printed the item as mango because we have updated the list item placed at 0 index. Now let me try to update the item value for tuple also. Now let's try to print the value into the console. Time I updated the value for tuple. And now let me run this. See here, it throws the error. The tuple objects does not support item assignment. So we cannot update the item of a tuple. Tuple is a read-only data type. We cannot change the property or size of the tuple. For the list, we can even change the size. Currently, we can see that we have 5 items in the list. And to extend the list or to increase the size of the list, we can use the append method to add another item into the list. And for that, I can type mylist dot append, and then let's say the new item value is mango. So we can add extra items to the list. And now if I print the my list again, then you can see now we have mango also available in my list. So we can update or increase the size of a list, but we cannot do the same operation with tuple. Here we don't have any append method in tuple because we cannot modify tuple or we cannot change the size of a tuple. So these are the basic data types which we have discussed today. We are left with some more data types like dictionary, set, boolean, bytes, bytes array, which I'll discuss in next session. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked it. Please put your comments in the comment box. Also, please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.